nailed to the X, baby. Yeah, I'm a very dumb guy, and very early in my life, I was like, I should be sober. So anything you hear me say that sounds stupid, it's like, imagine if I had let myself drink, right? So bad. Yeah, so I've been sober since I was 14 years old. I was, again, to go back to how weird my childhood was, I got sober at 14. And being sober is great. It makes dating in your 30s incredibly difficult, but other than that, it's great. I'm Shayne Smith. I'm a comedian, some people would say. Yeah, I hang out on the internet a lot. I yell, I talk on stage, and I sing in a band, and I do other things. I do a bunch of stuff on the internet, and people seem to like it, so here we are. I grew up in this tiny town in the middle of nowhere in central Utah. Incredibly small, no stoplights, one stop sign, mostly yield signs, you know, bring a gun to school for show and tell type stuff. So everyone just did everything, there were no laws. One of the last few like Wild West places left in the United States. A lot of people grow up like resentful of their small towns. And of course there's like a ton of stuff to hate about it, right? Of course, I grew up around like a lot of religious people and they didn't like, you know, any alternative lifestyles whatsoever. But I also grew up, you know, around a lot of wild people who do a lot of wild things, you know. So I grew up like, found dynamite when I was a kid and blew up a car and shot guns at each other to see what it would sound like, you know, stuff like that. Just being an absolute maniac. And then I grew up around like, you know, motorcycles and people who ride them, and then, you know, also get up to outlaw activity. Is that what we want to say? We'll say that. We'll say that. So it was good. It was really good. I enjoyed it. I loved it, and I miss it often. I don't remember the first time I ever saw someone with tattoos, but I remember my dad, he has a tattoo on his back, like a big tattoo of like this gnarly guy with a sword. And as a kid, I was just like, yo, that fucking rules. Like, that's awesome. Yeah, I just remember thinking that was so cool. So that's my first distinct tattoo memory. And so when I saw people starting to get heavily tattooed, when I saw like Madball and people from this like culture, you know, and I saw like motorcycle club guys getting tattooed, and I was like, yo, that's me. Like, I want to have that respect. They like walked around and they commanded so much respect, and so I was like, I'm gonna be the only guy in my town or the only kid in my town that's heavily tattooed, and I did that. I was heavily tattooed as like a child. It was really dumb. It was not good. I mean, clearly you see the proof of like, hey, maybe don't get tattooed when you're 14 or whatever. It wasn't that I wanted attention. I wanted people to be like, to immediately look at me and be like, oh, no thank you, almost. That's like what I was going for at the time, which is it's such a very young guy mode of thinking. I'm nowhere near that anymore, but at the time I just wanted people to think I was badass, I mean, to be honest. And then my first tattoo ever was Live, Love, Burn, Die from the Atreyu song. What the fuck was I thinking? It's so dorky that I kept it. I was like, it's too funny. I can't not have it. And yeah, I was just like, yeah, they'll respect me. By the way, I'm gonna get Atreyu lyrics. It's so bad. It's so bad.
How did the reaction go at home when you had that first tattoo?
Oh, I'll be honest, like zero reaction. I mean, my parents were pretty much, you know, I grew up incredibly poor. You know, my mom worked constantly, and when she wasn't working, she was like, you know, medicating with whatever substances she was dealing with at the time. And she's much better now, but at the time when I was a kid, I just completely no rules, no oversight, no anything. So I just kind of did whatever I wanted. At first, it was really about like, get me covered. Oh, my friend is gonna do kitchen table tattoos. And so I had like, I got a full sleeve in like a day. I got this little ditty and like one more. And then I met a guy who was like, I can tattoo. And I was like, can you? And he was like, check it out. And he just had like, you know, like basically like a tattoo a tattoo machine that looked like it came straight out of Mad Max. Like he invented it, you know? And he was like, I'm pretty sure this is gonna work. And I was like, get in here, bud. And he just like, you know, he tattooed me all over. I had so many at a young age. I tattooed my neck and my whole arm and no plan. You know, I was involved in this culture where all I wanted was respect and people to be like, he has tattoos, be afraid of him, respect him, whatever. Just dealing with whatever emotional stuff I was going through at the time. I got older and then I got that respect for real. And then I was like, oh, now I can shift gears and do what I actually like, which turned out to be like Darth Vader on my hand, just like being nerdy, which is my true passion and what I'm actually interested in. As I got older, who gave them to me mattered, where I got them mattered, why I got them mattered, and what they were began to matter much less than all of those other things. And so, but I think they've kind of gone piece by piece. I've never been interested in planning something big out. I think the blackout on my arm is the only thing I've ever been like, we gotta sit down and make a plan for this. So.
What was on there? I knew you made reference to some gang tattoos.
Yeah, so.
Is that most of what the blackout covers?
No, the blackout actually covers a cover. So, oh boy, strap yourselves in for how stupid this is about to get. So I got kitchen table tattoos, and some of them were gang tattoos. So I like full on, you know, sketchy gang tattoos. And I got them on my throat and stuff too. This is a cover also. So I had a parole officer, as one gets, and he was like, I was covering the gang tattoos, and he was like, you need to cover these with color. And I was like, what? And he's like, you're gonna put color into your neck, and you're gonna put color on your arm because it's gonna help you be hireable. Because I couldn't get a job. You know, clearly no one wanted to hire me, and I like looked, I just much, you know, I look nice right now, I hope. But back then I was just like shaved head, you know, full button-ups or white t-shirts, Dickies only, and I looked like a guy who wanted to fist fight you over something I thought I heard you said. And so, yeah, it just was so stupid. And so he was like, you've got to get color. And then his whole thing was, we're gonna make you look like Travis Barker. And like, I was like, what? And I had this officer like literally I feel like living his tattoo fantasies through me and like making me get tattooed the way he thought I should get tattooed in order to be hireable and palatable to just people. And so I don't think I was a coward, but I was definitely just like, I gotta do what this guy says. I'm trying to get my life together. Because I was trying to rehabilitate myself from, you know, what, like 24 years of just violence and just horrific decisions. And so I did it. I got color tattoos to cover all my stuff, and I fucking hated them. I hated them so much, and they weren't me, and it felt weird. And right up until very recently, I didn't have like the money or the time or the like energy to cover them. And so gang tattoos, weird biomechanical color cover-up forced on me by the police, and then the police blackout came after. So I have had 4 sleeves in my life. That's too many. So yeah. So what happens is you get older and tattoos start to hurt so bad and so bad. And I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so I was like, I'm not going to black out my arm. That's crazy talk. You know, what are you going to black out your arm at 33? You're not going to do that. And so I got some cover, and I got these like triangles instead of a full blackout. And I was like, I love this sort of, you know, almost tribal sort of vibe to it. It's geometric and it's interesting, and it kind of reminded me of From Dusk Till Dawn a little bit, you know? And so I was like, that's cool. You know, vampires will think I'm hot or whatever. I got this, and then over time, I liked it so much that I was like, I just gotta black it out. I just gotta do something. So we had planned to black it out, but leave the shapes we had done so that I could see the sleeve underneath still. I kind of wanted to leave it as a reminder, like, be true to yourself. Don't forget where you came from. Don't forget who you are. You know, don't allow yourself to like regress, because I wanted to remember you were a bad person. And then you tried to become a good person, and you lost yourself in being a good person. That's possible, and that's scary too. And so I was like, so focus up, be present always, you know? And so this sleeve is kind of, I look down and I'm really happy with it. I'm always saying like being heavily tattooed is cool because I get to look at myself in the mirror and the image that looks back at me is how I imagine myself, which is like the whole goal of like fashion and everything with self-expression. Like if you're living a life where the image that looks back at you is how you imagine yourself, that's the best life you can live. So I love that, I love seeing it, but I also wanted that reminder, you know, you were bad, then you were good, you can lose yourself in that, be very present, focus up, you know, and so that's what this is. I look down and I'm like, oh, stay focused.
When you get tattooed now,
Yes.
how is it different from when you first got tattooed? Like how do you approach it differently?
I'm much more involved in the process. Before it was kind of just like, so much of getting tattooed was, like the homies got the tattoo stuff out, let's all get tattooed. I have so many matching tattoos with guys, you know. I mean, one of my favorite matching tattoos, just like the thumbs, you know, X's on my thumbs or whatever, you know. So that it was very just like, let's do it, let's go, who cares, whatever. Now it's a very like, you know, a lot of my tattoos have like tons of meaning. Like I recently got a sigil that I had a priest in Iceland draw up and then, you know, other people added to it and put it on my body, and it was like incredibly meaningful. And I did some woo-woo shit and timed it up with the moon and like, you know, real nerd stuff, you know, just in case it works. I'm not saying magic is real, but like, what if it is? Maybe we should try it. So, you know, I did that. And I'm just like much more involved. And I'm also less worried about how people are going to perceive me with them. I don't regret any of my tattoos. I think I'm a guy with, I try to be a person with very few regrets. You know, and maybe everyone has a few and that's okay to admit. I always hear people be like, no regrets. And you're like, that's maybe not healthy. Maybe you have to have done something that like you have to think about and be like, I shouldn't have done that. But very few regrets, especially in terms of like what I've done to my physical body, right? Because it all leads up to now. And I'm so happy with myself and the journey my body has taken me on and like what it's gone through and what it's done. And like maybe aesthetically, I'm not always pleased with everything, but I'm absolutely no regrets. Even the worst tattoos I got that I was like, oh man, they're so bad. I have so few photos of me from when I was young, but when I do see them sometimes, I'm like, oh, what was I doing there? But no regrets, you know? There's only forward, you know, no backwards, only forwards. So,
You would do it all again.
I would do it all again. Maybe not the way I did life all again, but I would definitely, my tattoo journey leading up to now, yeah, definitely.